Alright guys, welcome to another cash game review session. Today we're reviewing Big Fish Kyle and his 25 Russian cash session on GG Poker. If you enjoy the content guys, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. The cash game strategy videos come every Thursday and we have other stuff dropping on Sundays. But I hope you enjoy the video guys and I will see you in the next one. But let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Let's go. The ranges we're going to be using, guys, are Preflop Bible. As I've already said, this is Bluff the Spots Preflop Bible Lite. They have a full version as well, but the full version is quite expensive. This is $50, and it's got a pretty good comprehensive PDF with ranges, preflop ranges. So what sizes do we use? I'm okay at lower stakes going 2.5x. You could even go 3x. Might disincentivize people to 3-bet, even though they should be 3-betting more often, really, because they're getting a worse price on a call. But Bluff the Spot recommends, and how I play, I raise 2.2x from under the gun and middle position, these two here, and then I raise 2.5x from the cutoff and the button, and then I raise 3x blind versus blind. I think that's fine as you're moving up. If you want to go 2.5 from every position, apart from small blind, I think that's fine as well. Ace Jack under the gun is obviously a very easy open. So if we look at the under the gun opening range, it's going to be mixing with Ace 10, and then it's going to be a pure opening Ace Jack. So the borderline ones are the yellow ones. If you don't want to open these, it's fine. Honestly, Bluff the Spot overvalues some of these early suited connectors in earlier positions. So honestly, I feel as though maybe at these stakes you can get away with it, but as you move higher, I wouldn't be opening 2s through to 4s, maybe even 5s. I wouldn't be opening 4 or 5 suited. I'd be mixing with these lower suited connectors, and I'm probably folding Ace 10, King Jack. But if you want to get a very basic style, just ignore these sort of borderline ones, and then when you're on softer tables, you can open a bit more, right? So the way I'd like to do ranges is that we actually pay attention to what kind of game we're in and what kind of table we're on. So this is why labels can really help, and notes. Labels especially, because if you're on a table with just no regs, only fun players and very tight players, then we can just open wider, right? We're not going to get 3-bet as much. We're going to be able to realize our equity. Ace King suited here, we are going to 3-bet. Bit annoying that it's versus a 4x and under the gun, but I still think we want to 3-bet. I would say this is a bit chunky. I mean, I get it that, I do kind of say if you struggle with sizes, go in somewhere around 3x in position, somewhere around 4x out of position for 3-bets is okay. So yeah, if this was a 2.5x, I'd probably be going 10 big blinds versus a 3x, I'd be going 11. But I still just think, even though it's against a 4x, we're still only 100 big blinds deep. So I never want to make the SPR too small, just because we want to have a lot of play post flop. So I think this is okay. It's on the chunky side. I'd be going 15. I'd be going 14. I think anywhere between 14 and 16.5, I guess, is okay. I think this is a bit chunkier, but, it's not absolutely terrible. We see an Ace Jack Deuce. We like this board. I want to bet really small here with my entire range, I think. So I'm going to bet probably less than a third. I'm probably going to bet like a quarter and just have my entire range as bets here. So the idea of betting small with our entire range is that we can still get called by worse when we are betting thinner. So we can still bet hands like kings and queens and get called by some Jack X hands. We can still bet aces and still get called by a lot of reasonable hands. And then, we're balanced in that respect. But 1/3's fine, I guess. I wouldn't hate checking as well with this hand. 7 on the turn. Again, so the idea is now, even when we bet small, the SPR is super small. I guess I'm probably either check jamming or just betting and jamming river. So the 7 of diamonds, maybe he's going to have some hands that want to continue now, like Queen 10 of diamonds, King Queen of diamonds, stuff like that. So I think there's more we can get called by. We unblock the Ace of diamonds as well, so we can still have Ace Queen of diamonds, Ace 10 of diamonds, hands like that. So I'm okay with betting. I think we want to go small here when we bet. So let's say we bet 28 big blinds. Just look at, everyone does this, even 25 big blinds. We bet 26 big blinds and he calls, okay? Then the pot's going to be 108 big blinds and we have 49 big blinds behind. So the SPR, or stack to pot ratio, is less than half. It's less than 0.5. We don't mind, we don't necessarily have to get to the river with an SPR of 1, but I want to get to, the river with an SPR of, say, somewhere in between 0.6 and 1.1. Rather than, just betting this it kind of just folds out a lot of hands that we want to continue. It just takes away any opportunity for him to bluff, really. I think we can just go, even just 19 big blinds here. Jams, and we call... I bet he's just got fucking jacks. Yeah, yeah. Sit cooler. Move on. There's not really a lot you can do about it. Once I bet and I get jammed on, I'm just like, what's he even got here after 4xing and calling? Like, is he just gonna jam the turn with like ace queen of diamonds, ace five of diamonds? Is he even gonna have ace five of diamonds, 4x calling? It's a cooler. You don't need to worry about these spots in the long run. So I've been on Reddit Poker recently and see a lot of people posting hands like this and be like, oh, could I get away from this? And it's like top versus a set, or like, you know, flush versus flush. And it's like, these spots don't affect your EV all that much. Like, think about in the long run. That's how poker should be, right? How often are you going to 3-bet ace king and it's going to come ace jack deuce rainbow? Like, how often is that going to happen? So in the long run, the amount of times where you 3-bet the flop and they fold, or 3-bet the flop and they call, that's going to make you so much money in the long run. So when you lose a stack here, it's in the long run, it's completely fucking irrelevant. It's like, all right, congratulations, you had a set. Ace jack deuce rainbow, ace king versus jack. Sit cooler, 100 big blinds gone, move on. And this is why you need to be rolled, guys. This is why you need to have a bankroll, because this shit happens. It sucks losing a buy-in, but it's going to happen in spots like this. So, and yes, they just always do have it, to be honest. But it is so sick indeed, Kyle. But I think you played it fine, with the exception of, I think the turn bet should be smaller. I think the flop bet should be smaller, actually, but it doesn't really matter. But definitely the turn bet. We can also check the turn as well, because we want to be balanced, right? So we're going to have a lot of natural checks, like queens and kings. So we want to check some of our stronger hands as well. Maybe we want to check aces a lot more. I think I'd always check aces on the turn, because I'm always betting aces on the flop. Maybe I'd check jacks on the turn. In fact, I'm more likely to bet jacks on the turn because we completely unblock ace-x. So I'm more likely to check hands like ace, king, and aces, to be honest. So I think we could raise this queen 4 suited, by the way, once a fun player limits blind versus blind. I think I'd be raising to 4x. Sometimes we take it down pre-flop, but we can also do a lot of betting on this board. So now that we've checked back here, you know, we're just going to call. We can't have any of the strong hands. Like, we can't have aces, jacks, tens, ace jack, ace king, ace queen. So we're at a disadvantage. Obviously, fun players don't really think like that, but we can still, even intuitively, they will. So if we were to raise, even a fun player that doesn't really think in terms of ranges is still going to see this board and not like it when we start betting a lot. So I think we definitely want to continue here with the backdoor flush draw. Nah. We want to continue here. We have the backdoor flush draw. King gives us a nuts, and we have, you know, backdoor third nut flush draw. He could just be bluffing as well. He could just be having, you know, a hand like deuces, which we can take off on the turn. So I think this hand is played really tight. I think we can raise pre with queen 4 suited. Sometimes we just take it down and we win, you know, the pot, which is 2.4 big blinds. 2 big blinds, sorry. And then sometimes, you know, we get to go on this board and start betting. So, yeah, definitely understand where you're coming from, where you say that you think you're too tight. I think some of these spots we can just be more aggressive with hands that play okay in position. Ace jack suited, easy open. Very nice hand. We can PL versus a 3-bet. It sucks. I still think ace jack suited we have to call. I don't like it because he's not playing a full stack, but I think our hand is just too strong to fold. The problem is, on these kind of boards, when he bets, we can't really float because we don't have enough implied odds. So he checks on the king 6-5. I'm happy taking a free card here. We have the backdoor nut flush draw, backdoor straight draws, potentially the best hand. He goes for a small bet on the turn. I think I'm just calling here. Raising would be a bit thin. For example, we'd be trying to get pairs to fold or ace queen. And I think we just have a little bit of showdown with the ace high anyway. So I think calling makes sense. And we don't want to raise and get jammed on. So, and then, yeah, probably just check folding. So checking back if he checks, because I don't think he's going to fold a better hand. And folding if he bets. I think just one of those. I think he played that fine. The king 10 here, I think that folding here is fine in these positions. Under the gun and we get 3-bet by cutoff. Let me see if I've got some ranges here. King 10 suited, it's pure flatting and 4-betting a little bit. It's folding these half the time. I think folding here is fine. I don't think you're going to get 3-bet enough. It's quite a big size versus a 2.2x. I think that this would be against a 7 big blind 3-bet, because we'd be opening 2.2x and this assumes we're getting 3-bets to 7 big blinds. I'm okay with a little bit of either. I think that anything's fine here. I think if we have king jack suited, we have to continue. I think when we have, I prefer jack 10 suited, to be fair. And obviously king queen suited, stuff like that, we have to continue. I think king 10 is, I think I'm fine folding here, honestly. Ace king suited, we have to come in with a cold 4-bet here. And I think this kind of sizing is okay. Let's not deviate too much from here. No, don't do this. This really pisses me off when people do this. It was 20.2. So we clicked up to 20.2. Also, I'm pretty sure on GG, you can on stars, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll up and down for sizes, which makes it a lot easier. Hover over there, scroll up and down. Makes life so much easier, very quick. The difference, what's the difference between 20.2 and 20.4? You've just wasted time. It really annoys me, this random little thing like, oh, I'm going to make it 20.4 instead of 20.2 is fine. Ding, 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 ding. Flop the nizzles. Go for a small bet here. Again, this is an amazing board for us, but when we're in a 4-bet pot here, the stack to pot ratio is very small. So we get to the flop, the stack to pot ratio is already 2. So to get the money in by the river against a strong hand is going to be easy. So if we'd have just raised pre and just got a call, the stack to pot ratio would be about 20, sorry. Whereas now it's 2. So it's a lot easier to get the money in. So on this kind of board, we probably want to bet our entire range. This is amazing for us. Good thing about Ace King is we unblock all the sets and 2 pairs. So he still has queens, jacks, 10s. So I'm just betting, no, again, just bet super small with your entire range. We want to keep as many hands in as we can here. He jams. I assume he's got queen, jack suited. Queens, why would you even jam queens? And we run it twice. It's never good to lose the first. It's always good to win the second. Okay, obviously a cooler. I would probably tag him as a type player. I guess he shows fine, actually. His call is fine. Peeling the 4-bet is absolutely fine. The queens, I'd be peeling pretty much my entire range. Like, if I have aces, I'm just calling in position. Out of position, I'd do a lot more shoving. The only thing that's bad about this hand is, again, your ridiculous sizing. But we went through this last time. We can just go 10 big blinds here. Like, literally 10 big blinds. If we bet 10 big blinds and he calls, the stack to pot ratio is near enough 1 by the turn. The way I see a lot of pots is I want to get the stack to pot ratio when I have strong hands or when I want to bluff to 1 or less by the river. That's so easy when the stack to pot ratio is 2 on the flop. By doing this, you already make the stack to pot ratio less than 1 by the turn. This just folds out any possible, you know, floats and stuff like that. But yeah, so I guess it's just fine. You get this board in a 4-bet pot, it's just going to go in all the time. Like, there's no hands that you'd 4-bet or call a 4-bet with that would just fold here on this board. Maybe ace-jack suited. Just a cooler. But again, just watch on your sizings. You don't need to go so big. Interesting one with 8-9 off here. I'm okay overcalling here. These hands are way better to overcall with than, let's say, ace-6 off or even like king-10 off. So, you know, these connecting hands I don't mind going 3-way with. It's a little bit loose. If we're against 2 solid regs, which we're probably not because he should be 3-betting a lot, then I'm okay just folding. But if we have fun players in, I don't mind the defend. This would be a bit loose of a check raise. At least we have the 9 of diamonds. And this is a card I think we just want to be checking an awful lot on. So let's see what goes on here before we decide to do anything. Before I berate your play. Drill it. Yeah, I'd go huge here. I like going for a big size here. I think he just always calls his overpairs and his queen X. Just go near enough pot. Yeah, 30 big blinds, I like it. He's going to call you with king, queen. Okie dokie, so let's dissect it. The pre-flop is okay, a little bit loose. The flop is a little bit loose, right? So when we talk about our bluffs on flops, we want to pick our best bluffs. Our best bluffs are going to be hands with a lot of equity, maybe no showdown, so, or, you know, little showdown. So something like a6 of diamonds is okay as well, but mainly I'd be using, our best bluffs here would be king 9 of diamonds, or 7-8 of diamonds, 8-9 of diamonds. We don't have ace-jack or king-jack of diamonds because we're squeezing those pre-flop. Then we want to get lower and we want to have some straight draws. So like king-jack with the king of diamonds. King-9 of clubs would be okay, but a little bit loose. 8-9 with the 9 of diamonds is okay. I'm going to allow this. This is like the bottom of the range that I want to check raise here. The absolute bottom of the range. 8-9 with the 9 of diamonds. I'm honestly just probably folding. So a jack isn't a nutted out if they have king-9 or ace-king. A diamond isn't a nutted out, so we basically have 3 very clean nutted outs, which is, you know, the 7 of hearts, the 7 of spades, and the 7 of clubs. So it is a bit loose 3-way, because he can still have sets, you know, he's still got to bet all his very strong hands there and could 3-bet if he has, like, pocket 10s. I think it's a bit too loose on the flop. The turn, I'm very much okay with checking. It's just a card where we really don't have that much value on. With it not being the 6 of diamonds, I guess it's okay in a way because we do have some 6x of diamonds. So maybe it's not the worst. So I wouldn't hate a barrel every now and then. But I do think checking primarily, and we just have to check fold, obviously, if he does bet, but he doesn't. And he checks, and then we just drill, like, the dream card on the river, really. We actually get so fortunate, like. And then, yeah, going for a large size, you know, the draw's missed. We can have some bluffs. You know, there's so much that missed. A lot of his bluffs are just going to bet the turn because we have to fold all of our bluffs, and he can just get, you know, quite a lot to fold. And yeah, so whenever we do check raise this flop and the turn comes to 6, I want to be checking pretty much range, or at least checking a lot. So we can still bluff sometimes, but so when we have strong hands, we need to balance that, right? So if we have 6x of diamonds, or, you know, if we have queen 6 of spades, for example, which we'd defend check raise flop with, I would be checking the turn as well. We need to have some strong hands to be checking the turn. So just make sure you balance in that respect, because we're going to be having a lot of natural checks that give up. Nines we're going to open. Ace queen we're going to squeeze, even versus a 4x. So what is useful to note as well is if somebody always 4x's. I don't know if this is the same guy that 4x before, but the guy that had jacks earlier, I would be noting that he opened 4x with jacks under the gun. Just 4x, jack, jack, UTG. That's all the note you need. Because some players will open 4x strong. Some players will open 4x weak. Some players will just open 4x. What we should be doing if you are opening 4x, which isn't a good thing to do, but what you should be doing, you should be opening less wide, because the bigger your open size, the less wide you have to open, because otherwise you can't just open everything at 4x. But I like the squeeze. Again, the size is kind of chunky. I know there's a bet and a call. There's a raise and a call for 4x, but no, I guess it's fine actually. I'd still go 16. I like the squeezer. Okie dokie, 9s on this board. This is a very awkward one. I think I probably want to bet and bet large, especially at these stakes. Again, it'd be useful noting all of your thingies. So this guy's probably a fun player. We saw him flat the button earlier. We saw him 4x fold with a 7. This guy's not playing a full stack, you know, called before, probably a fun player. So it's easier having labels and notes and stuff. And then honestly, just folding here versus this, yeah. He's going to have some like high equity bluffs and stuff. Like he can have hands like ace-5 of diamonds, 4-5 of diamonds. Could have 8-9 suited and stuff. But I guess we block 8-9 suited. But we have a player left to act. He has all the sets, 2 pairs. I think this is the best way to play it. So I would be checking this flop back a reasonable amount. If I have aces here, I'd be checking back. The thing is with 9s, it needs a lot of protection. So I think just going for a large bet and then folding is okay. And then we still have hands like 6s, 7s, and 4s. We should go for a large bet with those hands as well. Don't limp. Just don't limp. Just get that out of your strategy. If you've looked at the Carnu shit, forget about that at these stakes, honestly. The rake's kind of high. I really don't like a limping range. People don't defend enough. Just raise. Just raise or fold. Raise this or fold this. I'm literally okay with... In fact, King 7, I'd want to raise. Don't bother limping. First of all, it like muddles up your strategy because you've got a limp range, you've got a limp call range, a limp raise range, a limp fold range, and then a raise range. Yeah, so it's just very complicated. You've got 4 things to think of instead of a raise or fold range where it's just raise or fold. Just do not limp, blind versus blind. Ace Queen here is interesting. From a theory point of view, we're actually mixing this hand between 3-betting and folding. And against players that are... Yeah, I don't like calling because, again, I don't like having a call range. There you go, that's why. Now what? I guess we just have to fold. If we were 100 big blinds deep, I could actually get behind jamming. I actually think jamming would be the right play. But 140 big blinds, out of position, ace queen offsuit, we just got to fold. This should be a 3-bet or fold. And for me, it just depends on the player. When someone's playing less than 20% VPIP, or if I know that their, you know, RFI under the gun is very low, I'm just going to fold. But I really don't like calling. So we 3-bet here with the ace-4 suited. Blind versus blind, I think is fine. I think you can go either way on this board. I like the size in pre-flop. Blocking ace queen. We do have a reasonable amount of queen X because we're going to be 3-betting quite a lot. Turn, I would consider I'd say just a mandatory check. We want to be checking this back a lot. It's unlikely we have showdown. I guess we beat like ace jack suited now, ace jack of hearts, you know, quite a tight ace king, stuff like that. I just don't think I want to be bluffing, you know, if we're bluffing a pair of 4s and then we're bluffing, you know, a lot of ace highs and random flush draws, we could maybe bluff this river though. I wouldn't hate bluffing this river, trying to get out hands like 8s, 7s, 6s. I think we can go either way. And ace jack probably wasn't folding. So we did pick up, you know, the best hand on the turn, which is why I don't really like bluffing. And then I think river, we can go either way, either a large bet or a check. Got to consider how, you know, low down in our range we are here. How many worse hands do we have than a pair of 4s? Probably a reasonable amount. We can have some hands like 6-7 of diamonds that just, you know, gives up on the turn and then bluffs the river, which I think would be a fine play. So I think you played that one okay. 10-8 suited is a very sexual hand. Okay, so I think we could probably 3-bet this sometimes. So blind versus blinds. 10-8 suited is going to be mixing with. So natural reaction here is to flat versus a bigger size. But we can actually be 3-betting more because we're getting a worse price. And there's more to steal. So if anything versus a slightly bigger size, we should be more likely to 3-bet. I think either is fine here. Okie dokie. So the pocket nines, we are flatting here versus under the gun on the button. So if we look at the flatting range, I think this is probably going to be a mix. Yeah, so it's primarily calling and 3-betting a little bit of nines versus under the gun. Especially with a fun player in the big blind, less likely we're going to get squeezed. So I think it's fine. The 10-8 on the left-hand side, I think versus this size, we only have one option, and that's call. If there was a club, I'd be a lot happier and might consider raising. Here, this is just a better board for him, and I'm not even loving calling. However, we drill the nuts because, you know, life is easy. I think we want to bet this board in general. We want to protect and get value. I've noticed a lot of regs will check raise this spot when they raise under the gun, and you flatten the button. They seem to just love check raising. But he jack folds, that's fine. This is interesting with the 10-8. I don't know what we want to do here. Now, on the face of it, it looks like that, you know, okay, it's an overbet. So we don't want to have too many raises versus overbet. So we just want to call. On the other hand, there's just quite a lot of rivers that might slow down the action if he does have a strong hand and he has what he's representing. So I wouldn't hate just jamming this in, you know, in the hope that he has a strong hand like ace-jack, ace-9, nines, ace-7 suited. Even ace-king that doesn't want to fold. And we can balance it with very high equity bluffs, such as 10-7 of hearts and stuff like that, which I think would make sense. So I'm very much okay with jamming here, because if the river's a heart, we're in a weird spot. If the river's pairs the board, we're in a weird spot. But it might stop us from getting value, that's all. Okay, we just flat and the river's still nuts. So we actually kind of had like, you know, there's cards that really kill our action. It's not just a heart, it's not just a card that pairs the board, but a 10, an 8, a queen, and a king as well. So there's actually so many bad rivers. So even though, you know, our relative hand strength is the absolute nuts, it's the absolute top that we can have, I still think that jamming here, not for protection, but because we have bad clarity on the river, on a lot of rivers, that I think jamming here makes sense when somebody's doing this. And then he overbet jams, and we stop for a minute, we high-five our friends, and then we click the call button. And get shown ace-9. And there's your reason why. I'd also note that he does this as well. But there's a perfect example why. Think about how many rivers he could technically check fold on. A jack, a heart, probably not a 7, but maybe a 7, a king, a queen, a 10, an 8. So many cards. Close to half the deck, I would imagine. Whereas when he, you know, when he does have those hands that he's representing, and we jam the turn, he just calls and we, you know... Yeah, I think I'd like to shove. I still need to... What the fuck are you doing here? Again, no, just... these fucking notes, man. Stop it. You're gonna get into a hand and you're gonna be multi-tabling and you're gonna be like, right, so ace-9, small blind, big blind, jack, 9, ace, heart, heart. So, like, the fuck is that, man? Absolute nonsense of a note. Stop it. This. There you go. Overbet, ace-9 and ace-jack 9x. That's enough. Stop with this shit. Taking you about an hour to do it. Honest to God, I can't believe you're doing this whilst you're in the middle of hands. Oh my God, Kyle, I want to strangle you. Don't do this either. Like, this is going to affect people more than it might affect me because I'm quite an emotional person. But I do not like looking at my results. It affects my mindset. It might not affect the way I play necessarily, or I don't think it affects the way I play. It definitely affects my mindset there. If it's, I check my results once a week unless I'm checking through hands and accidentally see my results. I do it literally once a week every Monday. Forget about your result. Why are you even doing this? Why do you need to know? You rolled. It's not like you've got enough money in your account. I saw that you had 4 figures in your account. Stop doing this, man. Or at least if you need to do it, fucking sit out, man. Like, look, you're going to sit out of, like, what if you got aces here? You don't. You got jack 4 off, but... Can't tell you how much that pisses me off. Something that people don't realize in poker, people will have all this information and wonder why they're losing. It's because they're not staying focused. If you're not staying focused, your brain can't, you know, if you're thinking about something else, the adult learning model, you have different stages of competence. You have like unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. Then you've got conscious incompetence, where you know that you don't know something. Then you have conscious competence, where you have to think about the things that you know to apply them. Then you have unconscious competence, when you can just do it naturally. Like pre-flop ranges for me, I don't have to think, I just know what I'm opening. If you don't have all of these things, if you don't have everything in your unconscious competence, which you don't, because you're not going to be an absolute sicko at poker because you're moving through the stakes, you need to focus as much as you fucking can when you play poker. Just winds me up. Like, people are like, oh, why am I losing? I know all this. And then they're there fucking dicking about watching musicals while they're fucking clicking buttons. 8-9 suited, easy open. The king jack, I like the small size, and on the flop, he's just got a lot of nonsense so you can fold. I think we're going to mix, but I'm generally okay with betting. Okay, fours here. I don't hate calling. I don't hate calling. So generally, you want to stay away from this. But I think versus a min raise and a call with two fun players, I think that calling is just about okay. 8-9 of clubs here. I think I just want to bet large on this board versus a big blind. This is a board where we have amazing advantage. He does have more 10 jacks than us because we're not going to open 10 jack offsuit. But we have aces, kings, queens, ace king, ace queen. Maybe he's got ace queen, but he doesn't really have any of the stronger hands. So on this board, we can just go big with our entire range here. We just have a huge advantage and we want to utilize that, right? So when I talk about going our entire range, because this board is so good for us that we have a lot of the stronger hands, in general, we want to bet big, right? Because we're going to have a lot of hands for value. Aces, kings, queens, jack 10, ace queen, ace king. But because that we have so many for value, we can't just only bet big with those and bet small with nothing. So we want to bluff as well with a large sizing. So 8-9 of clubs makes sense because we have a flush draw, we have good equity, and also we have a huge range advantage. So I'd like to see a bigger bet on this flop. And the turn, you can go either way here. He does have a reasonable amount of jack-X, and I do want to be checking this turn quite a lot. Against some players, though, you know, if I think they're quite tight and they're going to have some ace-X, king-X, and, you know, they might fold the two pairs, then I'd consider barreling the turn. So I'm definitely okay with the turn bet. And fours, we just check folding. And we get it through, that's nice. Not doing anything four-way with fours, we just basically can't. Four-way pots, you can't really be bluffing. And fish 78 is indeed a fish. What are you even noting here? What the fuck are you doing? Oh my god, just... Right, first of all, by the way, I don't know if you fucking noticed, there's 4 to a straight on the turn. I don't know if you noticed, the 7 makes a straight. So it's not like he's fucking some absolute sick passive nit that he's checking to go for a check raise. He's checking because he's a little bit worried when you go four-handed, i.e. you're against 6 other cards, that somebody might have a 7. Or by the river, queen 10. This isn't... That's not even a note you should... That's not even relevant. You're going to think he's some absolute passive nit guy or something that just checks sets all the time. But when there's 4 to a straight and you're four-handed, checking a set's okay, you know. Checking a set's... It's allowed. Useless note. Not to mention that, how many X's do you want? He didn't check fucking 11 streets, did he? Ace queen, easy 3-bet, we get cold called. You don't have to do this. I can see that he's cold called. Like, it's so funny that I see you do this when, like, somebody does something, you're like... Watch the mouse. Watch the mouse in a minute. That was mine. Like, I know he's cold called. I'm watching it, Kyle. Don't worry. I'm going to spot this. Like, this is interesting. I think we can bet. So I've noticed cold calling is, it depends on the player. Fish will cold call absolute junk. They'll cold call absolute garbage. The tighter, more regular sides, they're going to cold call quite a linear range, quite a narrow range of like 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, and maybe some like ace queen suited. I don't hate checking this back, especially without a backdoor flush draw. I don't mind betting, and then if we bet, I'm probably barreling turn. We block ace jack suited, queen jack suited. He's definitely going to have jacks here, but you can have some like 8s, 9s, 10s. Oh my god, what's this note going to be? Right, hang on. Before we see his note, I'll show you what this note should be. That's what his note should be. 2, 4, 6, 8 letters. Oh my god. Kyle, you make me laugh, man. Simmer down, yeah? Yeah, learn FTO instead. It's going to be better. King 10 suited here. What are we going to do? We're deeper. 3-bet. These hands go up in value deeper. Nit. Okie dokie. Let's have a look at 3-bet. So we are cut off versus under the gun. Banana. So it is actually folding King 10 suited. However, we're deeper. 3-bet. I much prefer a 3-bet here. King Queen, we're going to go for a 3-bet here. I think that's fine. I'd just be going 7 big blinds here. I wouldn't worry about going, you know, typing in 6.5. Just go 7. It's fine. Ace-3 suited, I think we just want to call. Look how deep we are. In this position, I think you should either 4-bet or fold 100 big blinds deep. However, when you're 200 big blinds deep, I think that you should 4-bet or call. I would never fold this hand. These kind of hands go up in value when you're deeper. So I think we want to take a flop here in position for sure. But again, most people don't know the differences in 100 big blinds and 200 big blinds. But these kind of hands go up in value. Yes, you've got reverse implied odds if it comes ace-4-9. But it's not like we're going to stack off on this board with ace-3 of spades, right? Whereas when we hit spades, we can still cooler some hands like 10-jack of spades, king-queen of spades, king-jack of spades, all of which should be 3-bet. So these have better implied odds when we go up. Speaking of 10-jack of spades, king-queen, so we 3-bet. I like a c-bet on this board. I'm okay going... I'd probably go around half pot on this board. I think going this size makes sense. Looks like he's quite tight here. I may go for just multiple barrels here, and then I'd be using this Queen of Hearts blocker and be probably jamming on a heart river. We've not seen many spots when you've got opportunity to bluff. I'd like to see a turn bet here, to be honest. 10-jack suited we defend, flop a flush draw. Okay, I think I like the bet on this turn. It's good to see that you've been aggressive here. And against somebody with, 4% VPIP, I think that this is just going to be good. They're going to have a lot of, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. They're just going to fold. We can probably pressure a 10 into folding by the river. So 10-jack, we defend, we check call the flop, which I think is fine. On the turn, I think we can do either or. I would generally be... I think against this size, I'm more likely to raise. I think a fun player, he's just going to size up with his flushes and such. I think that there's enough merit in raising here. Yeah, I don't mind the sizing against a fun player. We really don't want to get 3-bet, but if we do, we do. And probably just going big on this river. What kind of size do I want to go here? I don't mind going small to try and specifically target King X. Against a fun player, I'm probably just betting big, though. Our bluffs are going to be hands like ace-10 with the ace of spades that we check call flop with. And I think we'd go large here, so yeah, I think I like this. Probably going about this size. Probably just calling. We're getting 3-1. We need to be right 1 in 4 times. I've seen fish jam worse flushes. Stick it in and lose. I'm guessing this is one where you fold. The only reason why I don't like folding is I've seen fish jam worse flushes. I've actually been in a spot where I called a river when I was so sure I wasn't good, and he had a worse flush when I had a 7-high flush. He had like 2-3 of spades. In a spot just like this. Okay, so let's actually have a look at his range here. The thing is, if you assume he can have any bluffs, we cannot fold. It is unlikely that we're going to get shown a bluff here, but if he has ace-queen with the ace of spades and wants to bluff here, then folding here is just out of the question. The thing is as well, what full houses is he going to have with this line, okay? So he raises pretty out the cutoff, so he does have King X here. He might have King 3 suited, should be a bit loose. Definitely got pocket 3s. He goes for a 3rd bet on the flop, and we call. On the turn, he bets half pot. If I had a hand like 7s here, I'm going to go a lot bigger. This guy, I think, was a fun player, so he can be wider and stuff as well. Goes for just over half pot. I'd be going bigger with 7s. A lot of fun players tend to go bigger when they have stronger hands as well, I would say. Or like maybe even like min click 3-bet the turn. So it wouldn't surprise me if he like got in the nut flush draw on the nut flush, on the turn. The deuce is completely irrelevant. There's only one combo of king deuce suited if he'd even have it. Honestly, the thing is, again, this is one of those spots where I think people just like care too much about losing a bit of money. Like in the long run, this isn't going to affect your EV too much in the long run, because when you have a flush and you get beat, it's not going to happen all that often. The problem is here, I just think that he could jam worse for value. It wouldn't surprise me if he has something like, if he's a fish that is, and he has like 8-9 of spades or 8-6 of spades. I just don't think we can fold here. We're getting over 3-1. So we need to be right. If we're right 1 in 4 times, we'll be printing money. So yeah, honestly, he probably just has it. I don't know if you fold, by the way. I assume you fold, but I didn't actually watch the rest of the video. I just think, honestly, we have to call. And he could have he could have ace-ace with the ace of spades as a bluff. Excuse me, sir, this is a Wendy's. This is fucking 25 NL. No way in hell does he have aces with the ace of spades. So yeah, I think we just have to call here. The problem is, if we make the assumption that he never has bluffs, then every time we don't have the ace of spades here, we get stacked. We fold. Because we're probably check raising 3s on the flop. I guess we can have 3 combos of 7s. And 1 combo of king 7 suited. 2 combos of king 7 suited. I think we just have to call. And it sucks. And people are going to say, you know, people are going to say fold. And these are the people that think that when you get coolered, that you should always be able to get away from it. And because you can't get away from it, that's why you're losing at 25 NL. Honestly, these spots don't really make that much of a difference to your EV in the long run. If I'm playing against a reg here at 100 zoom, and I bet this river, and they jam, I am calling because I will see bluffs like ace queen with the ace of spades. Okay, in which case, Happy Panda, he's jamming over a pot bet. So you mean he can't have bluffs? Because, you know, it's not a pot bet, by the way. So that means that nobody ever has bluffs when we bet big on the river. So they only have value. So we should fold our entire range. Do I think we have the best hand? No. Do I think we have the best hand won in like 4.5 times? Possibly. It's going to depend on your opponent. If you assume that people can't have bluffs, then when he has the ace of spades, he pretty much just wins here. And it doesn't matter what his other card is. He just goes, all right, I got the ace of spades, I win. So yeah, please show a bluff. Don't you show. Don't show your fucking fault. Jesus, man. Do you know what you've done here, Kyle? You've just gone, hey, look. Bluff me loads. That's the fucking dumbest thing you can do. That's the dumbest thing I've seen you do. Look, I folded a flush, guys. Exploit me. The they never bluff is a massively overapplied concept. It stems from poker teachers saying it to justify their folds without the proper explanation of context. So people will take that and apply it to a spot that might be completely different and just be like, they don't have bluffs here. So, you know, somebody might have heard, like, somebody jams over a bet and they go, they don't have bluffs here. Even if they don't have bluffs, they might have worse for value when they're a fish. That's completely right, Ben, in my opinion. So we 3-bet kings versus middle position. The stupid fish cold calls out the small blind. And we go to a 9-8-8. Cold calling range here, you can definitely have like jacks, 10s, 8s, 9s. Probably not really many 8x, maybe like 7-8 suited. Put money in. I'm okay. I don't mind going for this kind of size because they are both can have some pairs here and like hands like 10 jack. So I don't mind going like this 15 big blind size and just putting more money in the pot. Yeah, I think this is fine. Anyway, so we get to the turn, 3 of diamonds. I don't hate jamming. I think that people are fishy enough to just call with like 10s and shit. I guess we can have bluffs like 10 jack of diamonds that we're probably just going to jam in, queen jack of diamonds. So I think just jamming's fine. We do have a little bit to protect from. Again, it's one of those where there still are some bad rivers, right? A diamond, an ace, you know, even a 10, 7, queen, all of those cards aren't great. So I'm fine just getting the money in now and just jamming for slightly over par. I think this is fine. And we're going to get called in 2 spots because it's GG. So I assume this guy has the best hand. Like, he should. He's going to have fucking nonsense, I bet you. Not quite nonsense. How have you just overcalled there with jacks? Jack. Easy. Easy game. All right, big cooler. Note this guy. Not with your silly notes, but note cold call queen, small blind. And note this guy that he just doesn't fold because jacks is just a fold there. 6-7 suited, we can 3-bet. I assume we're coming to the end of it. I think I like 3-betting this. We're a little bit deeper as well. I like the sizing, going a bit deeper. And then we get called 4-bet to a pretty daft size. And I'd probably call because I'm an idiot. And that's going to be the end of the session, I believe. So, what do we have to work on? This. Notes. Stop making ridiculous notes, Kyle. That was absolute nonsense. I think the 10 jack suited fold, I don't hate it because in practice you're going to run into the nuts a lot there. But when you're getting such a good price and they still can technically have bluffs, calling isn't going to lose you that much money in the long run, which is what poker's about. People need to get out of their head, you know, with these 6 spots like, I got set over setted. Can I get away from this? No, pay him off and be like, okay, sweet. I'll get on with it. I think you play okay, Kyle. I think that you're going to be winning in the pools without a shadow of a doubt. Just make sure your sizes are smaller in 4-bet pots and stuff. Maybe a little bit tight in some spots, but we did see some aggression from you know, with the king queen where we just double barreled king high, which I think was okay. Just don't be worried about those cooler spots. Don't be worried about trying to get away from a hand with a flush, like when you've put like so much money in. We talked about the small blind limping and the small blind calling versus a raise. I think we just want to take aggressive actions in the small blind. So no limping blind versus blind, only 3-betting or folding. I think that makes more sense at the small blind to take the initiative. I think that you should maybe look at some ranges 200 big blinds deep. Like King 10 suited, I think would be a pretty good 3-bet. Same with the Ace 3 suited that we folded 200 big blinds deep in position. I think we should definitely continue that hand because these hands just go up in value when we depost them.